You served for a couple of years alongside Senator Harris, and then she'd been vice president for 4 years. You've been in the Senate. What do you make of her, and should the Republicans beat her handily?
What I know of her is that she was the most far-left member of the U.S. Senate, rated so by GovTrack. That year in 2019, I was rated the most conservative. So we know GovTrack has taken that page down so people cannot see it. One of the things I do know also about her administration with Joe Biden is this. It has not been a female-friendly administration. They can't even define the word woman. They have taken opportunity away from girls by allowing boys into girls' sports. You see what the impact of inflation has done. And for working moms, the impact that has had on them trying to manage a family budget. And then the impact in our communities with fentanyl, the loss of life, the destruction of young lives, the amount of crime that has come into communities, the acceleration of gangs, and the worry that parents have over the safety of their children when they're out and about, kids that are going off to college. So this has not been a female-friendly administration.
Senator Blackburn, you're on Judiciary, but you got on the Judiciary after Senator Harris left it. Most of her
No, I served with her on Judiciary.
Oh, you did? So you know
Yeah.
how left-wing she is. How do you communicate that to America? She is by far to the left of Obama. She is way left of Biden, and she was way left of Bernie Sanders. How do we communicate this?
And it is talking about her record and the policies that she has supported. Defund the police, defund and eliminate ICE, change the way policing is done. She has, as the borders are, she went months without ever going to the border, and then she went to El Paso, and that is 800 miles away from the lower Rio Grande Valley. And she never called the chief of the Border Patrol and said, what can I do? She was supposed to address root causes. We've had over 30,000 Chinese come through this year to the southern border. Has she looked at what the root cause might be in China and why we have such an uptick in numbers coming out of China? And all of this speaks to the positions that she holds and the policies that she has supported. And that should be where we put our attention. Hugh, I think as the American people realize how far left she is. She's left of Bernie. She's left of Elizabeth. She is left of the Obamas. She is that far left. She calls herself a progressive. Most people would say that's a radical.
Now, you know practical politics, Senator Blackburn. Republicans are not doing much between now and the convention because the Olympics dominate television, and then she'll get a bump when she names her vice president, unless she doesn't name Josh Shapiro, because that means she's afraid of the anti-Israel vote in her own party. When do you expect the campaign to be joined in earnest?
I think that once they get to the Democrat convention, you're going to see a true uptick in the activity that you're seeing from both sides of this race. And people want to know that they're going to be safe in their communities. They want to know that there's some economic stability in their life. They want inflation to come down and the cost of living to come down so that it is affordable again. They want to know that this open border is going to be shut and that there will stop being this influx of people that do not wish us well.
Now, Senator, I got to ask you, though, there are only 100 people in the Senate, and they know each other pretty well. And when I talk to senators off the record, they tell me who they like across the aisle and who they don't like. What is she like to work with? I mean, her staff has turned over 100% since she became the vice president because they don't like working for her. But what is she like working with?
I never worked with her that much, and I did not see her do a lot of participation in committee work, and I think she pretty much kept to herself.
I think that might be a replay. She got to the Senate to run for the president, and her run was so terrible she had to drop out before Iowa. Do you think the Democrats are desperate, or is their enthusiasm real?
I don't know how real the enthusiasm is, but what we do know is this. You had 14.5 million Democrats vote in the presidential primary, and they saw the power brokers of their party come in and say, we're going to declare a do-over because there is no way Joe Biden can win this election. His polling is so bad. So far, Kamala Harris, even with Harris honeymoon, she has not been able to accelerate her numbers. And it could be that when they get to the convention that they pitch her also. And we will see what ends up happening. But I talked to some of my friends who were Democrats. They were very unhappy with that because they feel like they have had no say, and now they've got a nominee. They don't want a leftist nominee, which is what they have. And they're very frustrated with the fact that they're hearing that the Democrat elites are polling and trying to find the individual that will run best as a VP, and they have no say. And they're basically
it's so interesting.
Okay.
It's obviously Josh Shapiro, but they may not pick him because he's pro-Israel and he's Jewish, which will tell us a lot. She skipped the Netanyahu speech, so I want to ask you about that to close out, Senator. What did you make of Prime Minister of Israel, and what do you expect Israel to do after the massacre of the children in the Golan Heights?
I think you will see Israel respond. They have the right to do that. They have the right to protect themselves and their people. This attack that was carried out and the loss of life, what we hear was it done to those children that were out there on that soccer field. It is just sickening. And I fully expect Israel will retaliate.
Senator Marsha Blackburn
keep in mind, too, it's all funded by Iran.
Oh, it is. It should be called the Israel-Iran war, not the third war with Lebanon.